Hello, my name is Gary Richards. I'm proud to be the superintendent of the Wilton Public Schools. The purpose of this brief presentation is to share some information with you about the Board of Education's proposed operating budget for the 2010-11 school year and to remind you and invite you to attend the Board of Finance's public hearing on the Wilton School budget, which will be held on Wednesday, March 24th at 7:30 p.m. in the Middlebrook Auditorium. In the next few minutes, I'd like to share some information with you about some of the challenges that we face in trying to contain our costs, and more importantly, some of the actions that we have taken to try and contain costs during these difficult economic times. A few of the factors that make it difficult to contain costs are not dissimilar from some of the things that we all face in our lives. One is the fact, and it's a huge issue, is the fact that we're facing rapidly increasing costs for providing health benefits for our employees. A second factor that we must contend with each year is the increases in costs for energy, heating oil, electricity. We have in our schools about 700,000 square feet of real estate that we must heat, cool, and power, and their costs are affected each year, as are yours. A third factor that is more unique to the schools is that we have faced in the last several years the national problem of the epidemic of youngsters who are faced with autism, who are on the autism spectrum. These youngsters are some of our most challenged learners, and we are doing everything we can to try and help educate them in a way that recognizes the challenges that they face. Another factor that we have to contend with is that there are additional underfunded mandates from state and federal government. Federal governments and state governments will pass laws that carry with them responsibilities that are costly to us. We are also facing, as you are, rising costs for some of the commodities we buy, the textbooks, paper, instructional supplies. These are just a few of the factors that we have to consider and that are affecting the budgets that we put forward. Now I'd like to take a moment and just share with you some of the things we have done to try and contain costs. In the area of enrollment and in staffing, since most of our budget is in staffing, we have reduced staffing in relationship to declining enrollment as we can. This particular budget that we've put forward has cut staffing not only in classrooms, but we have cut administrative staffing, support staffing in ways that will reduce our costs. Another action that we've done is we've applied for state grants and federal grants where possible. We did this to provide funding for some of the security equipment that we've put in schools. We continually, each year, look at rebidding our property and liability insurance. We've investigated alternative health benefit programs such as health safety accounts. We're continuing that work. We've also negotiated contracts with our employees that contain clauses that require increased costs on the part of our employees for the health benefits that they receive. In the areas of energy conservation, we have been working with the Wilton Energy Commission and have engaged in a benchmarking project to measure use of energy in our schools to find ways where we can cut back on the use of energy. We have designed, and thanks to the generosity of the town, and built a new heating, ventilating, and air conditioning system at the Wilton High School that will be more energy efficient. We have engaged in efforts to try and change the culture in our buildings about use of energy. We have put in software that turns off computers at night if they're accidentally left on. We have put in relamping projects that where the motion sensors turn off the lights in classrooms that are not being used. We're engaging in pilot projects with the Energy Commission and others for solar panels. And we've tried to put out more of our communications in electronic format. In addition to efforts aimed at conserving energy, we have also engaged in group purchasing ventures. For example, we purchase fuel oil and heating oil in consortium with the town as we attempt to lock in a favorable rate for Wilton. We buy paper and other school supplies when it's cost effective to do so as part of a consortium. Finally, I want to assure you that our efforts at containing costs are not limited to this budget, as we strive to be good stewards of the tax dollars throughout the year while we're providing quality educational programs and services. Thank you. I hope that this information has been helpful in painting a picture of some of the things we are facing as we develop an operating budget for the coming year for the Wilton Public Schools. Additional information on including all of our budget presentations may be found on our website, along with some of the questions that we've been asked and our responses to those questions. Also, I want to assure you that we in the schools are striving to develop a budget that will enable us to meet our responsibilities to the young people who attend our schools, but is also sensitive to the challenges that we're all facing during these difficult economic times. Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite you to the Board of Finance public hearing on the Wilton Public Schools proposed budget for 2010-11, which will be held on Wednesday, March 24th in the Middlebrook Auditorium beginning at 7:30 p.m. This is an opportunity for you to share your comments about the budget with the elected members of the Board of Finance as they consider the budget that will go forward to the voters in May. Thanks for your interest in our schools.